What's up guys, Chris here and welcome back to another Destiny video. Today's video is a little bit special because I've brought on two special guests. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
Hey guys, this is the Clawman, esteemed leader of Resolute.
True Vanguard here, content creator for Destiny, and host another YouTube channel.
So basically what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be discussing Trials of Osiris, the changes coming to the Crucible, what we'd like to see, and much more. So why don't we start with the Trials of Osiris? What are you guys' thoughts on the reveal this week?
I was so excited to see that. I was literally buzzing with excitement watching that happen. Just all the thoughts running through my head about what it means and how fun it's going to be. I'm excited.
I think the thing that I'm most excited about by far is the fact that this isn't a rehash of a game type that we already are familiar with, but instead it's a completely new experience, the elimination style. A lot of people were under the impression that the Trials of Osiris was going to be a skirmish-themed competitive event, but instead we get a brand new game type here with the elimination. We get a new interface, new scorecards, so everything about it is just brand new, and I love that.
Yeah, I appreciate that as well. I like how it's familiar enough so we can just jump right in and completely understand what's going on, but it's different enough, and it's a more challenging composition, as it were. I think that's exactly what we needed in Crucible.
Yeah, for me personally, I'm just really excited to see something that's more competitive, as well as a no respawns game mode. In Call of Duty, I was always a fan of Search and Destroy. I love that game mode because it's really intense. And we haven't really had that intensity in Destiny PvP so far, so putting that in with the elimination game mode, as well as putting a competitive playlist like Trials of Osiris in there, I'm really excited to see that.
Likewise, one of the major concerns that you see represented in the community just by taking a look at the forums on BNet or taking a look at the Reddit posts as well, you see one of the things people are most concerned about is the lack of matchmaking. How you have to go in with a pre-made team of 3, and you're going to be going up against another pre-made team of 3.
I don't see why people are concerned with that, honestly. It only seems reasonable to me because it's not fun to go into a playlist expecting competition and then wiping the floor with the enemy team. And it's still going to happen even if you get matched against pre-made fire teams, but it's not going to be nearly as frequent that you're going to be outmatching your opponents by that much. And it's just not fun, really.
For sure. I really want this Trials of Osiris to be a challenge. I want to go in not expecting to win necessarily. I'm a slightly above average player. I want to work for that win. I want to earn that gear. I don't want everybody who has that gear to earn it as well. I think a necessary evil, if you're against it in general, is to have 3v3 matchmaking. No public fire teams. I think it's a great idea.
Absolutely, and I think that one of the factors for me is when you look at what's on the table, what potential rewards there are, and you look at the Trials of Osiris Egyptian-themed armor, and that stuff is light level 30. It doesn't need to be ascended. So essentially, you're talking, you're potentially being awarded end-game armor that can get you to max light level. And historically, with the DLCs and with Vaults of Glass as well, the armor that gets you to max light level is armor that can only be acquired through these challenging processes where you have to have a pre-made team already assembled. So I think in that regard, this is sort of a PvP equivalent. It's an end-game activity with end-game rewards, and so in that regard, I do think it's only fair that we try and make it as competitive as possible, and you should have to have a pre-made team.
Yeah, and I think it's great that we finally get the sort of PvP endgame content that PvP players have been wanting for so long, because up until now, the only way to get to the maximum light level is to do the raid, and if you play PvP exclusively, obviously you're not really going to get up there, and there's a lot of weapons that you can't get because you play PvP, and it's just nice to see something for the hardcore PvP players to work for as well that is sort of exclusive to them.
Agreed. And then in addition to that, the revamping of the reward system, as illustrated explicitly in the Trials of Osiris, but I think it's really cool how they are increasing as a whole all of Crucible's rewards. They're really bringing in the PvP perspective into the plausible end game. I feel like, especially in the lull between DLCs that we've experienced most recently, a lot of people have gravitated towards PvP, and there's not a lot of physical, as it were. quote unquote physical, because this is a game, but physical rewards for playing and even winning Crucible.
Absolutely. You know, one of my biggest things that I've been very vocal about for quite a while now is that when you break down apples to apples and compare time invested in the game, if you're investing an hour of your time farming rock strikes, then you're probably going to come out of that activity at the end of that hour with probably a dozen blue engrams, a few legendary engrams, and plenty of materials. But if you're looking at that same amount of time invested in the Crucible, you're coming out with your stats have changed a little bit. You walk out with maybe a couple of blue engrams, maybe some blue gauntlets that you dismantle, but that's about it. So for a primarily PvP-oriented person, it's exciting to me that I'm going to get more return for my investment from here on out looking at the Crucible and the way that they're going to reward players for consistently playing well.
Yeah, and it's actually not only for PvP players that this is a big deal, because I've talked to some not PvE exclusive players, but players who didn't play PvP a lot simply because they didn't feel as though that there was any incentive to go ahead and play the PvP perspective of the game. Now, this is actually going to mean that there's a lot more players playing the PvP of Destiny, and hopefully that will also lead to better matchmaking and less lag in the long run. So
That's a good point.
So in regards to the Trials of Osiris, do you guys have any concerns or maybe things you're looking forward to in terms of the ways that you're going to see maybe some variation in team strategy, the way that they're going to approach the Trials of Osiris new game mode? You know, one of the things I've thought of is, are you going to start seeing teams of 3 where they have at least one Defender Titan that's going to throw a bubble down on the enemy ghosts after you've killed them to keep them from reviving? Are you going to see Warlocks now using the Ram helmet in order to disorient enemy players when they self-res, activate Fireborn, and do Radiance? I think that you're going to see a lot more combinations with supers and gear for specific strategies.
I think so too, and I'm really looking forward to a more strategic mindset going into Crucible. You know, my experience with 6v6 has been overall enjoyable. I'm not going to say that I don't like it, but in general, it's kind of a cluster. It's kind of a mess. There's even going in with a full fire team, there's not a huge justification to be diverse. You know, I think that going into the Trials of Osiris, I think that's a conversation that we're definitely going to want to have with each other. You know, what are you running? Oh, we're going to run a hand cannon? Okay, it'll be redundant to do that. I'm going to grab my scout rifle so I can pick them off at range. You know, right. Or varying subclasses as well. You know, if we have 2 Titans, you know, one will be defender for that ghost idea. And honestly, popping over an enemy ghost is something I wouldn't have thought of. Maybe it's because I don't play as a Defender Titan. That's a unique idea. That's
just
cool.
Because Vanguard is a Crucible genius.
That's probably what it is.
Yeah.
Since when?
The other day. No. Yeah, I think it'll be great, and I'm looking forward to purposeful strategizing and the challenge that'll occur because the other team is going to be doing the same. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah. And I think I'm being optimistic here, but I think we might also see a little bit of rebalancing. We don't want to talk this at length, but I think we might see some rebalancing in terms of weapons as well before Trials of Osiris hits, so that we do see a little bit more variation once we get in there.
I certainly hope so.
Yeah, it would be nice if we're going to be seeing all types of weapons in the Trials of Osiris, and not only exotic cannons, and I'm assuming it's going to be snipers in that playlist. It would be nice if we also saw some scout rifles and maybe even auto rifles being rolled out.
And I think that Bungie has set a precedent of delaying, I mean, not that they're delaying this, but, you know, to illustrate, to make my point, they delayed this Iron Banner to be post special ammo changes on purpose. They're aware of that mindset. They're aware of how rebalancing the Crucible will alter it. And I honestly do anticipate that they'll at least bring all exotics better into line with the baseline. Because right now I feel like there's a pretty far bias against for the exotic hand cannon. So we'll see. I hope so. I want to use something else besides my Thorn to be on top, you know?
Yeah, that's one of my biggest concerns. We talked about this a little bit early on today. But obviously, I think it's going to be Thorn and Last Word all over the place if there isn't any rebalancing before the Trials of Osiris. So definitely hoping for that.
Yeah. If there's not, though, you just gotta be flexible with the meta, right, Bife?
Shout out.
You know, I'll probably cave in and use the Thorn then.
Yep. Just gotta work with it. But it'll be fun. It'll be, regardless, even if they don't change anything, it'll be a brand new experience, and it'll be a lot of fun to work through strategy wise. So
here's the question: if you had to pick right now your 3 weapons to take in to the Trials of Osiris, what would it be, guys?
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and be a little interesting, and I'm gonna pick my trusty Praetor's Timepiece. Probably my LDR sniper rifle and the Truth.
Nice. Let's see. My average try-hard setup is going to be Thorn. I hate it, though. I really want to be able to use my scout rifle, honestly. But my try-hard setup would be Thorn, Praetor's Revenge, and then Jolder's Hammer.
I think for me, it'd be 3 little words as my primary. And then I'd go with my longbow synthesis. And the special slot. Of course.
What else?
And then finally, I got to go with Chris on this one. I'd be rocking Truth. That way I don't have to aim. I just want him to die.
Yeah.
You blind fire that thing.
That's what you do with Truth. You know, you have almost infinite velocity, infinite blast radius, and you have grenades and horseshoes, so who needs to aim anyway?
Us skilled players do. With our Jolder's Hammer.
Aiming's overrated. We all use aimbots, man. Where you been, Claw? You don't aim.
Oh, is that why? Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Okay. Send me the link, bro.
That's Vanguard's secret. That's why he's so good.
Little side
All right.
note. One thing that a guy told me, I know this is off topic. I apologize. You don't have to put this in there. Maybe they want to. Well, little side note. I had a guy suggest to me if you sight in on your sniper rifle, and then just put a little piece of tape on your screen, right where the reticle.
Oh my goodness!
And then you just go around and you hip fire and use that piece of tape as your reticle. It's amazing. It actually is. I tried it once.
It's so cheap. I love it.
That's actually pretty smart. That's really smart because then you know where to aim in on.
Yeah.
Wow. Cut
Also,
that out. We don't
like when you're
about
running, when you're running in general, you have that little reticle thingy. You know, you can just line that up and you'll be set.
How about that Egyptian themed gear though? We touched on it earlier, but what do you guys think about how that stuff looks, huh?
I think it looks amazing. I think it's on point. I think that I've really been wanting some Crucible related gear that just that draws attention, and not only that, but it also carries weight because the Egyptian themed armor can only be acquired by actually winning matches in the Trials of Osiris. So not only does it look good, but it is a bit of a status symbol as well.
Yeah, and I was really excited to see this gear, especially the Warlock helmet. I think looks really cool, and the whole Titan armor set. The only piece I don't really like is actually the Hunter helmet. It looks sort of stupid in my opinion. But if only Bungie lets us upgrade our August Dymatic PS4 exclusive armor, I'll be more than happy with it. But overall, the Trials of Osiris gear looks really great.
I foresee some humorous mummy memes coming out of the Hunters Osiris gear, personally.
I think that mummy helmet. I think it's gonna. I think it looks inherently like it belongs on a female hunter, but not so much on a dude. My opinion.
That's unfortunate.
Well, the same goes for the Wolf of Glass helmet.
Maybe.
So let's can we talk about the new maps because they look fantastic. You look at Widow's Court, which looks like it came straight out of a fantasy RPG style game. You've got Black Shield on a new place, new environment on Phobos, a moon of Mars. You've got the Thieves' Den, which to me looks like it's going to be pretty much a Rumble, a skirmish style map, and it looks like it came straight out of that area on the Ishtar Sink on Venus, where you do the Archon Priest strike, and then finally you have the PlayStation exclusive Timekeeper. Personally, I'm really excited about these maps. I like that one of the things that I think we haven't had in the past is maps that cater to all styles of gaming. They took Bastion, they took First Light out of the rotation for almost all the playlists, save for one. So now to have some maps like Widow's Court that has wide open spaces, has long sight lines where scout rifles, sniper rifles are king, but it's not an overcorrection because there are plenty of indoor spaces. There's lots of horizontal cover and broken walls that you can blink to and from if you're using a shotgun and a hand cannon. Personally, I'm really excited.
Yeah, especially Widow's Court looks really good to me because you have this mix of long lines of sight but also tight corridors. And that's something we haven't really seen with many Crucible maps so far. If you're an average sniper or an average player in general, I don't think there's a lot of maps where you can really use a sniper effectively in the Crucible, with the exception of something like Shores of Time. But then on Shores of Time, there's only, 2 areas where a shotgun is actually going to be useful for you. So it's nice to see that that gap sort of being bridged by these maps.
And just reiterating what you guys are saying, Widow's Court looks freaking amazing. I think it's so exciting to see new styles of maps. I mean, I think, just thinking back real quick, I mean, with Dark Below, we thought we had all moon stuff. It was all familiar environment. Nothing particularly new. We opened up a couple areas on Earth, and then obviously the raid on the moon, and it was cool. It wasn't. I'm not taking away from it at all, but it's so exciting to see new lighting and a new skybox and a new Phobos is a brand new location. I think it's just telling of more things that'll be coming, but it's just really exciting to see those in person.
Yeah, it's nice to see something that looks different, really. With Widow's Court, you mentioned an RPG fantasy style with the church and stuff.
Skyrim.
Yeah, it looks so good. It looks so good. It's really nice and bright. It's not, all the Destiny PvP maps, they look good, but we don't really have anything that looks, how do you say it, bright and...
civilized, yeah, current civilization. Yeah. Right. I mean, besides the tower. Yeah, I agree.
Speaking of maps, another exciting feature of the House of Wolves is that the Dark Below maps going to be free for everyone now.
Yeah,
which is awesome, because those maps are great, honestly. They're fun. They get old playing only 3 of them in rotation, so this will solve that.
Yeah. Personally, Pantheon and the Cauldron, 2 of my favorite maps, so I'm just really happy to see them being included in the playlist, so I'll actually be able to play them all the time. Well, not all the time, but a lot more often, because
all the time.
Right now, it's like there's barely any playlist population on the Dark Below maps, so you either get really laggy lobbies or you play the same 2 maps over and over again 10 times. So ultimately, I just don't find myself playing that playlist anymore, and it feels like I've paid for those maps just to play them 5 to 10 times.
And only on the weekends.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's a good change. I'm looking forward to it. I also like that if this is a precedent for the future, if this is a consistent thing that they're going to add to the game, adding in what once were, DLC exclusive PvP maps, if they add those to the public rotation consistently, if the what is the name of this DLC?
House of Wolves.
If the House of Wolves PvP maps get added in, in 4 months and 5 months when the next one comes out, that will keep PvP fresh for everybody. I think we're buying access to it earlier, and I have zero problem with that. I think that's great. And then I also like that everybody else be getting it down the road just to keep those relevant and exciting.
Yeah, not only that, it also keeps the playlist population up. So if you want to play certain maps, you aren't locking anyone out. Everyone can go play them, and overall the playlist population is going to go up from that.
Good job, Bungie.
Bungie.
And also,
you guys thought this through.
Either way, when the House of Wolves comes out, where's the Dark Below playlist going to go anyway? So it's like either we completely lose them or they put them into the normal rotation. So I don't see how it's a bad thing at all.
Well, does that about sum it up, guys?
Yeah, more or less. Then there's obviously the small changes coming to House of Wolves to double the Crucible marks, double the Crucible reputation. After Crucible games, we touched on the legendary rewards being added.
Yes.
And there's a little spawn locking issue, but we're not really entirely sure what that is, so not going to touch too much on that. And then, of course, there is the special ammo changes. That's sort of old now, but I think it just goes to show that Crucible is going in the right direction. It's finally getting the love I think it deserves, and it's actually being taken seriously now.
Agreed.
The future is bright.
It's very bright.
Indeed.
And there it is, guys. Unfortunately, my Skype recorder decided to cut off at this point, but we're just doing the outros, just the usual stuff. You know, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and stuff. But I wanted to say, make sure you go check out these guys on Twitter, on YouTube. Clawman's link to his Twitter will be in the description, so will Bangot's YouTube channel, so make sure you go check them out. They're really great guys, and I definitely recommend it. Anyway, I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.